Okay, so in this lecture, I'm going to talk about Chapter 9. The Chapter 9 is the queries, description logic, and Sparkle. Okay, but we're not going to talk about Sparkle in this class. Okay, so our main focus in Chapter 9 is the queries, description. Using the description logic. Okay, so that's description logic. Queries is a main topic. Okay. And then we're not going to cover Sparkle in this class. So for the Chapter 9, we're going to only talk about Chapter 9.1, which is just one page, just 66. And then starting from the 67, it's talking about the sparkles, but we're not going to cover sparkles. We don't really need it for this class. Now, so DL queries, right? I know it's just one page, but I need to create a couple of video lectures just to explain the concept explained in this one single page. There's a lot of things to cover, okay? So be patient. Okay, so now let's just read. Start with the most straightforward one based on what we have already learned, description logic, the queries, right? And these are essentially the same kind of statement you have been using to define classes, yes. However, in addition to using such a statement to define a class, you can use it as a query. So this is a key concept here. So we can use what? You can use the description logic expressions as a query. Okay, so that's the key point. Okay, now let's just do exercise 33. And to begin, we need to use a DL query tab. Okay, so we'll use DL query, like that's step number 1. And step number 2, we'll just open that the DL query tab, right? And then the step number 3 is we're gonna use a couple of specifically we're gonna use this DL expression. Okay, so we're gonna use this DL expression and then use it as a query. Okay, and etc. Okay, so now let's just do step number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, one at a time. So please open your protege with File, Open, and then please open the file that you have downloaded in my previous lecture, right? Complete Pizza Ontology, right? Now go to Classes, and then make sure that it has everything, the customer, employee, and everything, right? Okay, so just expand as much as you can. Okay. Now, just they said you go to the DL query tab. So this is a DL query tab. If you don't have one, no worry. Just go to the Windows and go to tab, and then you can click what? DL query tab, right? So here's a DL query tab, right? Just click this tab, and then you can, just go to the tabs, and then select DL query tab, right? Okay, so this is a DL query tab. So in this class expression, right, you can, for example, type this DL expression, okay? So one example, and then make sure that you just click subclass. Just click subclass and instance, and then instance. Okay, I have to. Okay, but before that, you have to run the reasoner. Okay, so just please start the reasoner. Okay, and then check the superclass for now. You can. You know what? Let's just check everything. Okay. Now, another thing. I know that I already showed this before in my previous lectures, but make sure that you go to the preferences and go to the reasoner, right? And make sure that everything is checked for the reasoner, right? Everything, and then click OK. Just checking. Okay, now that's a reasoner, right? Okay, now in the DL query, in the query tab, right? You can basically put the DL expressions, right? So you may ask me, okay, Professor, what is a DL expression? Okay, and if you look at this tutorial, they say DL expression is the thing that you use to define classes, right? Yes. So let's just take a look at the classes. And then let's look at the couple of defined classes. Okay. So for example, let's look at the customer, right? You see that, especially look at the defined classes. If you look at the customer, this is a DL expressions, right? And then look at the cheesy pizza. It's a defined class, and you see that pizza and has topping some classes. So this is a DL expressions, right? So this is a DL expressions. Okay, so if you look at the DL expressions, right, you see that you have what? Class name, right? They use a class name, right? And then they use either or and an operator, right? And then sometimes they use what? They use the property restrictions. Either object property restrictions or what? The data property restrictions. In this case, this is what has topping, some cheese topping. This is what? This is also the DL expressions, right? So they're using the property restrictions, right? And in case of customer, let's look at the customer. They're using, for example, this is what? This is property restriction. I mean the data property restrictions, okay? So roughly, right, informally, when they say DL expressions or the DL statement, right? This is like this is not the exact definition, okay? This is like approximate definition for the D. Okay, so let's just let's see. Okay, so when they saying the DL expressions or statement, right? What it means is, right, is this. So simply, like in a simple form, right? It's just simply the class names, right? The most simple form of the DL expression is just class name, meaning that customer, employee, the pizza, cheesy pizza, high clarity, anything that you see in this left, in left column, right? So, named pizza and spicy pizza, right? They are basically class names, right? So the simplest form of the DL expression is simply what? Class names, right? So now, let's just, for now, okay, just for this lecture, I'm gonna use the simplest form of a DL expression, which is class name, okay? So now go to the DL query, right? And then I already ran the reasoner, right? Okay, good. The reasoner is running now. So if he wants to find, right? If he wants to find all the instances, for example, right? If you find all the instances, if you find the superclass, meaning the parent classes, and if he wants to find the subclasses, right, of something, then you can use DL expression. Let's say, for the, just for the customer, right? So I'm going to type customer, which is the class name, right? And then I'll just say execute, click execute. Okay, now you see that I can see that there are 10 instances of the class customer, right? And then superclass, the parent classes of the customer is obviously a person. And then OWA thing, because OWA thing is a superclass of everything, like parent class of everything. And direct superclass is person and direct subclass is OWA nothing, because OWA nothing is what? The subclass of every class, pretty much, right? Now, and the same thing with the subclass direct. Okay, so now, usually, okay, but anyway. So this is like now you know what it means by using the DL expression as a query, right? Of course, there's another way you can find this information, for example, like instances, right? You can go to the individual by classes, and then when you click customers, you can see this information, or maybe in here you can type I mean, you can click on the customer and then you can see this information, right? Right. So yes, you can go through this path to find all the information that you need. However, I find this tab, dual query tab, is very useful. Okay, I'll tell you why. I really like this dual query tab very much. Okay, I'll tell you. You'll see the reason that I really love this dual query lab later on. But now I just want you to know that you know, we can use. I mean, the simplest at this point, right? The simplest. The form of DL expression is just class name. And as you can see, you can use a class name, right? In the class expression tab. Maybe we can just find another example, right? And we can use, so let's say cheesy pizza, okay? Instead of customer, the cheesy pizza, right? And let's say execute. Then I see that it's the cheesy pizza, right? These are the instances of cheesy pizza, and the subclasses, direct classes, and etc., right? And the equivalent class is cheesy pizza. Okay, so now you can see everything about this cheesy pizza in one place. Okay, and maybe if you want to look at the spicy pizza, or you know what, if you want to look at the American hot pizza, of course you can use a primitive class. So far I used what? I used all the defined classes, but yes, of course you can use a primitive class. Let's say American hot pizza, right? Oops, I think I had a misspelled American hot pizza, right? Okay, now execute. Okay, so these are the results. You can show me what? Direct subclasses, superclasses, equivalent classes, and direct subclasses, and etc., right? And these are the instances, okay? But you know that this is a primitive class, right? So what is a primitive class? The primitive class is pretty much, you know, it's what? It's defined by the necessary conditions, okay? So it means that this instance, right? If this instance is the, is what? Is, I mean, if let's say American hot pizza 1 is an instance of American hot pizza, right? That means basically, you know, this American hot pizza what has the necessary condition, basically. It satisfies the necessary conditions, but you know, it does not have what? It does not have sufficient conditions. Okay, so that's the difference between defined class and primitive class. I explained about this. Okay, the difference between the defined class and primitive class, right? Okay, I'll probably talk about this a little bit more later on, but anyway. So now, okay, so I'm going to end my lecture here, my first part. So what is the most simplest form of a DL expression? As you can see, what is a class name? Okay, and then you can use that class name in this in the query expression space, right? And then use it as a query, and then here is the query result. Okay, so that's my part 1 of the section 9.1. Yes, I know it's just one page, but I think I need to create a couple of just video lectures, just to explain just this single page. Okay, so be patient. Okay, thank you.